The room was tense, the kind of tension that makes your chest tighten even when you're just watching from afar. Candace Owens, known for her fearless commentary and unapologetic stance on every issue, had just stepped onto a stage. But this time, it wasn't to debate politics or social media trends. No, this was something far more personal, far more explosive. She held a folder in her hand, and the air crackled as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Tonight, she would reveal something no one expected: the hidden, unspoken words of Charlie Kirk about his own marriage. Fans had speculated, whispered rumors about cracks in the seemingly perfect image of Charlie and Erica. But no one imagined the storm that was about to break. Cameras flashed, journalists leaned in, and social media buzzed with anticipation. Candace's eyes scanned the crowd, unwavering, her voice steady but dripping with intensity. "What I'm about to share," she began, "is something that shakes the very foundation of what we thought we knew about this couple." The audience gasped. Emotions ran high. Some clutched their phones, ready to record every word. Others exchanged worried glances, sensing that the drama unfolding here would ripple far beyond this room. Candace continued, recounting private conversations, shocking admissions and confessions that had never seen the light of day. Charlie's words, raw and vulnerable, painted a picture no one had dared to imagine, a picture of doubt, tension, and emotional turmoil that had silently brewed behind closed doors. Friends and family, Candace revealed, were divided. Some were sympathetic, others incredulous. "You can't imagine the look on Erica's face," Candace said, pausing for effect, when she heard what he really said about their marriage. "Some of it will break your heart. Some of it will leave you shaking your head in disbelief." The whispers of betrayal, the sting of misunderstandings, and the weight of expectations all colliding in a drama that felt both intimate and monumental. "And just when you thought the story couldn't get any more intense," Candace hinted, at a twist that no one saw coming, an unexpected third party who had been quietly influencing events, someone whose presence in the narrative would turn the entire family dynamic upside down. The room fell silent, the weight of anticipation nearly unbearable. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high. The family was left divided, and as Candace's words hung in the air, one thing was certain: nothing about this marriage would ever be viewed the same way again. By the end of her opening revelation, viewers everywhere would be left with a single question burning in their minds: how did it all get to this point? And who, if anyone, could bring peace to a situation so tangled with secrets and emotional landmines? Tonight the truth would be revealed, and it promised to be unforgettable. Candace Owens stepped into the room, the cameras catching every subtle shift in her expression, the flicker of intensity in her eyes. The atmosphere was electric, charged with anticipation that hummed like a live wire. People whispered in low tones, trying to process why Candace had called this exclusive reveal, why she had chosen this moment to bring private words into public view. No one could have imagined the storm that was about to unfold. Charlie Kirk, the figure of charisma and unwavering confidence, the one who had always portrayed the perfect image of a supportive husband, was now at the center of a revelation that threatened to dismantle that facade completely. Candace took a deep breath and began recounting what she had learned, her voice steady, commanding, yet tinged with emotion that made everyone lean in closer. "Charlie's words," she said, "are unlike anything we've heard before. They're raw, unfiltered, and they reveal a side of him that no one, not even those closest to him, truly knew." The room seemed to shrink, the audience hanging onto each syllable, feeling the tension as if it were their own. She described private conversations, moments where Charlie's tone had betrayed frustration, confusion, even regret. The words were not mean-spirited. They were human, painfully honest, and yet they carried a weight that had reverberated through his family in ways no outsider could have anticipated. Friends had noticed subtle changes. They confided in Candace, describing Charlie's late-night texts, the silence that followed heated discussions, and the occasional outburst that left everyone around him unsure how to respond. Emotions ran high as Candace detailed one particularly intense exchange. "He said to her," Candace recounted, lowering her voice for effect, "I feel like I'm failing you, failing us, and I don't know how to fix it." The audience gasped, some covering their mouths, others exchanging shocked glances. It was not the brash, self-assured Charlie they had expected to hear from. It was vulnerable, stripped of bravado, a man wrestling with the consequences of choices that seemed small at the time, but had ballooned into emotional chasms over the years. Candace continued, weaving a tapestry of moments that had led up to this revelation. She spoke of family dinners where laughter had once been easy but had grown strained, conversations that started light and ended in tension, and the invisible walls that had begun to form between Charlie and Erica. "Fans are shocked," she noted. Because what had been portrayed as a picture-perfect relationship was, in reality, a complex web of misunderstandings, unmet expectations, and private struggles that rarely surfaced. She described arguments that had begun over minor issues, a missed event, a forgotten anniversary, but had escalated into nights of silence, heavy with unsaid words and simmering resentment. The confessions Charlie had made were startling, not only for their honesty, but for the insight they offered into the man behind the public persona. He admitted to Candace that he sometimes felt trapped by the expectations placed upon him, that he feared disappointment more than confrontation, and that he was haunted by the thought of failing those he loved most. The room reacted with a mix of empathy and disbelief. Emotions ran high as Candace recounted the countless sleepless nights where Charlie wrestled with these feelings alone, choosing to shield the world from his doubts while carrying the weight privately. And then Candace introduced the element that truly sent shockwaves through the crowd: the influence of external pressures. She revealed that friends and distant relatives had, knowingly or unknowingly, added strain to the marriage. Unsolicited advice, critical observations, and judgmental commentary had infiltrated private moments, sometimes sparking arguments that felt out of proportion but were fueled by accumulated tension. The family was left divided, Candace emphasized, as loyalties clashed, alliances formed, and misunderstandings deepened. She described one particularly volatile incident where a casual comment from a relative had triggered a confrontation so intense that Charlie found himself questioning not only his role in the relationship, but also the intentions of those around him. He said he felt cornered, that every word he spoke was scrutinized, twisted into something it wasn't. Candace explained, her voice resonating with the gravity of the moment. The audience shivered as they imagined the scene. Charlie pacing the room, head in his hands, wrestling with words he wished he could retract, and emotions he could not contain. Candace's storytelling was meticulous, unfolding like a slow-burning drama that demanded full attention. She narrated moments where Charlie tried to reconnect, gestures that fell short, apologies that seemed insufficient, and attempts to rebuild trust that were thwarted by lingering doubts. She introduced Erica's perspective subtly, not as a villain, but as a woman grappling with her own disappointment and heartbreak. She loved him, Candace said, pausing to let the weight sink in. But love isn't always enough when fear and frustration have crept in. The audience felt the tension tangibly, a combination of sympathy for both parties and a morbid curiosity about what would happen next. She detailed phone conversations, private notes, and moments of candid vulnerability where Charlie expressed feelings he had never shared publicly: the fear of inadequacy, the weight of public perception, and the yearning for genuine understanding. The family, she explained, had been caught in a whirlwind of conflicting loyalties, some siding with Charlie, others silently judging, and still others feeling helpless, unable to intervene without worsening the tension. The narrative took a darker turn as Candace recounted moments of isolation. Charlie, despite his public confidence, had confessed that he often felt misunderstood, that the expectations of his supporters, friends, and even casual observers weighed heavily on his mind. He admitted, Candace said, her tone somber, that sometimes he felt like he was performing life, like he had to be perfect in public while chaos reigned privately. Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because this juxtaposition of public image versus private reality painted a man both relatable and tragic. She described how Candace herself had been caught off guard by the depth of his confessions, the sincerity that cut through any preconceived notions. Every word was layered with nuance, revealing fears and regrets that added complexity to a figure many had considered one-dimensional. And then came the twist. Candace revealed that an unexpected third party had been quietly influencing the trajectory of the marriage. Someone whose presence was subtle yet pervasive, someone who had sown seeds of doubt and amplified misunderstandings without ever being directly confrontational. Charlie, in his private moments with Candace, had acknowledged the difficulty of navigating these hidden pressures, the way they had subtly eroded trust and magnified insecurities. The audience was captivated, emotions running high as they tried to piece together who this mysterious figure could be, and how they had managed to manipulate events from the shadows. Candace didn't reveal the identity fully, leaving a cliffhanger that ensured viewers would stay glued to every subsequent detail. The tension escalated further when Candace recounted a particularly raw confrontation between Charlie and Erica. Emotions ran high, voices were raised, and words were exchanged that would be replayed in the minds of both long after the argument ended. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine," Charlie had said, voice trembling with frustration and despair. Erica responded with equal intensity, her own pain and confusion spilling over into accusations that hit harder than anyone outside could have imagined. The family, witnesses to the confrontation, were left divided, some rushing to mediate, others stepping back in shock, unsure where their allegiances should lie. Candace painted the scene with vivid precision, allowing listeners to feel the sting of betrayal, the ache of disappointment, and the raw humanity of two people struggling to navigate love under pressure. Candace then introduced a series of private reflections. Charlie had shared moments of self-doubt, confessions of fear, and revelations about the personal sacrifices he had made in silence. He spoke of the late nights pacing his home, replaying arguments, analyzing every misstep, and wondering whether there was a path forward, or if the damage had already been done. Fans are shocked, Candace noted, because such intimate glimpses into the inner workings of his mind were rarely, if ever, seen publicly. The narrative revealed a man grappling with his own limitations, the complexity of expectations, and the fragility of trust, all while maintaining a persona that the world had come to admire. And as part I drew to a close, Candace delivered a final, chilling revelation. The emotional consequences of these private exchanges had begun to ripple outward, affecting friendships, professional relationships, and even the broader perception of Charlie and Erica's partnership. The family was left divided, torn between loyalty, sympathy, and skepticism. While outsiders struggled to reconcile the public image with the private reality that Candace had so skillfully unveiled, the weight of unspoken words, hidden pressures, and raw emotion hung heavy in the room, leaving viewers with a sense of anticipation that could only be resolved by continuing to witness the unfolding story. The stage was set, the players revealed, and the drama was far from over. Every revelation, every confession, every subtle gesture pointed to a narrative that promised to grow ever more intense. Ensuring that no one would forget the night Candace Owens exposed Charlie Kirk's shocking words about his marriage, Candace Owens' voice lingered in the minds of the audience as the lights dimmed slightly. A calculated pause that amplified the suspense. As the room settled, she began to reveal the next layer of the story, the deeper, darker currents that had been swirling beneath the surface of Charlie and Erica's marriage. She recounted a night that had become infamous among those closest to them. Night of confessions, tears, and a confrontation so raw that even seasoned friends admitted they had never witnessed anything like it. Charlie, Candace explained, had poured his heart out in a way that left no room for misunderstanding. "I've tried to hold it together," he admitted, voice strained. "But sometimes the weight of keeping everyone happy, of being the man people expect me to be, is unbearable. I feel like I'm losing myself in the process." The room grew silent, every ear straining to catch the tremor in his words. "Fans are shocked," Candace emphasized, because this was not the confident, unshakable Charlie they had seen on stage or in interviews. This was a man struggling, wrestling with vulnerability that he had hidden from everyone, of those he loved most. Candace shifted the focus to Erica's perspective, explaining the inner conflict she had experienced. She had witnessed Charlie's struggles but had also felt the sting of neglect, the unspoken tension that often filled the spaces between them. "She told me," Candace recounted, "sometimes it feels like we're strangers living in the same house. He's here, but he's not really here. He's fighting battles I can't see." The crowd leaned forward, captivated by the intensity of the emotions. By the juxtaposition of love and pain, loyalty and doubt, the drama intensified as Candace described how friends and family had attempted interventions, often unintentionally adding fuel to the fire. Every attempt at reconciliation seemed to uncover new wounds. Every act of support became a double-edged sword, highlighting fractures that had long been ignored. The family was left divided, caught between defending Charlie, empathizing with Erica, and attempting to mediate without worsening the situation. Candace revealed a shocking series of messages that had been exchanged in the weeks following that confrontation. Charlie had confided in close friends, admitting mistakes, expressing regrets, and sharing fears he had never voiced publicly. In one message, he wrote, "I feel like the person I promised to be has slipped away, and I'm terrified of what comes next." The words were simple but carried a gravity that resonated through the room. Emotions ran high as Candace detailed how these messages had circulated among a select circle, each reader reacting differently, some with sympathy, others with judgment, and a few with quiet horror at the honesty laid bare. The ripple effect was immediate, affecting perceptions, relationships, and alliances within the family and their closest social circle. And then Candace revealed the pivotal twist that no one had anticipated. An unexpected figure had quietly emerged, influencing the trajectory of the marriage in subtle yet profound ways. This person, a mutual acquaintance who had always appeared supportive, had begun planting seeds of doubt, subtly questioning decisions and feeding insecurities. Charlie, candidly sharing with Candace, had acknowledged how difficult it was to navigate these pressures, how they had amplified conflicts and eroded trust. The audience shuddered at the implications. Someone from outside had infiltrated the emotional core of a marriage. reshaping perceptions and emotions without direct confrontation. The drama intensified as Candace recounted confrontations sparked by this influence. Moments where Charlie and Erica had argued over misunderstandings, each unaware of the external hand guiding the narrative deepened as Candace described a series of escalating incidents. Late-night conversations that began as attempts to reconcile often ended in frustration. Charlie would express vulnerability, Erica would respond with guarded skepticism, and friends caught in the middle struggled to maintain neutrality. One particular night, Candace revealed, had ended with Charlie sitting alone, replaying every word, every gesture, questioning his own reactions and the intentions of those around him. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because the man they believed to be unflappable was laying bare a torrent of emotions that few could handle witnessing. It was a raw human moment that exposed the fragility beneath the polished public image. Candace shifted focus to the consequences of these conflicts on those around them. The family, the friends, and even professional associates felt the tremors of this marital tension. Alliances shifted, loyalties were tested, and private conversations often ended in whispered arguments behind closed doors. Candace detailed heated exchanges where emotions ran high, accusations flew, and misunderstandings multiplied. In one particularly dramatic scene, a family dinner erupted into chaos when a casual comment from a relative triggered a long simmering argument. Charlie's frustration boiled over, Erica's disappointment surfaced, and the entire room became a battlefield of emotions. The family was left divided, some rushing to mediate, others stepping back in shock, unable to process the intensity of the confrontation. Candace then recounted the aftermath of that night, a series of reflective conversations and private confessions that painted a picture of two people struggling to reconcile love with disappointment. Charlie admitted to feeling isolated, misunderstood, and haunted by the gap between expectation and reality. He confided fears of inadequacy, moments where he doubted his ability to sustain the relationship, and a recurring anxiety that Erica might one day leave him. Erica, in turn, wrestled with her own sense of betrayal, the weight of unmet expectations, and the painful realization that love alone might not bridge the growing chasm between them. Emotions ran high as Candace narrated these exchanges, allowing the audience to feel the intensity, the heartbreak, and the human fragility of the situation. And just when it seemed the tension had reached its peak, Candace revealed another twist, the emergence of long-hidden secrets and past mistakes that resurfaced at the worst possible moments. Messages from years earlier, comments made in private that were now exposed, and actions once overlooked began to resurface, complicating an already volatile situation. Charlie, candid with Candace, admitted the burden of these revelations weighed heavily on him, as did the pressure to maintain composure publicly while navigating an increasingly complex private reality. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because these layers of complexity revealed a man battling internal conflict on multiple fronts, each revelation deepening the intrigue and leaving the audience desperate to understand how the marriage could survive. Candace described moments of attempted reconciliation that ended in miscommunication and frustration. Charlie's efforts to reach out, apologize, and rebuild trust were met with caution and guarded responses from Erica. The tension between them became almost palpable, a tightrope walk of emotion where every word, gesture, and pause was scrutinized for hidden meaning. The audience could feel the weight of unspoken grievances, the ache of misunderstandings, and the raw intensity of two people grappling with love under extreme pressure. The family remained divided, torn between empathy, frustration, and a desperate hope for resolution. The section concluded with a chilling cliffhanger, Candace explaining that despite all the confessions, confrontations, and emotional revelations, the story was far from over. Charlie had yet to fully confront the hidden pressures, the external influences, and the lingering doubts that threatened to undo the marriage. Erica had yet to articulate her final stance, and the family remained divided, uncertain of who to trust, who to support, and what the future might hold. The tension was nearly unbearable, a story that demanded continued attention, promising twists, drama, and emotional revelations that would leave fans shocked and desperate for answers. Candace Owens paused, letting the weight of the previous revelations settle over the audience, before diving deeper into the unfolding drama. As the cameras rolled, she recounted the days that followed Charlie's confessions, a period marked by tension so thick it seemed to seep into every corner of the family's life. Charlie, she explained, had been attempting to repair the fractures in his marriage, but each effort seemed to uncover new wounds rather than heal old ones. He told me, Candace said, voice low but piercing. Every step I take to make things right somehow opens another door I didn't know existed. It's exhausting, emotionally draining, and sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because this raw admission contrasted starkly with the public persona of confidence and control he had always projected. Candace painted a vivid picture of the private battles that raged behind closed doors. Erica, she explained, was grappling with the duality of love and hurt, her heart torn between compassion and frustration. She questioned Charlie's every intention, scrutinized his actions, and yet could not entirely detach herself from the bond they shared. The tension between them escalated during casual interactions that now carried the weight of unspoken grievances. Charlie, in his private reflections with Candace, admitted to nights spent analyzing past arguments, replaying every word, and wondering whether any resolution was truly possible. The room leaned in as Candace detailed his vulnerability, highlighting the human complexity of someone often seen as unshakable. And then came a revelation that sent shockwaves through the narrative. Candace disclosed that an unexpected text message had arrived at a critical moment, reigniting old insecurities and creating a chain reaction of mistrust. The message, seemingly innocent to outsiders, carried layers of implication that only those deeply familiar with the family dynamics could decode. Charlie's reaction was immediate, a mix of anxiety, guilt, and defensive reasoning, while Erica's response was equally charged, blending hurt with a determination to protect her own emotional boundaries. Emotions ran high as Candace narrated the exchange, detailing how the incident had caused friends and family to take sides, deepening divisions and amplifying the drama. The narrative continued with a series of late-night confrontations, each more intense than the last. Candace described one instance where Charlie, overwhelmed by frustration, had raised his voice in a moment of vulnerability, confessing fears he had long hidden. "I feel like I'm failing you," he said, the words trembling, "failing our family, failing myself." Erica, equally raw, responded with a mixture of anger and sorrow, expressing disappointment over decisions she felt had been made without her input. The room was left divided, friends stepping in to mediate while others watched silently, unsure how to intervene without worsening the situation. "Fans are shocked," Candace noted, because these moments revealed the intensity and complexity of emotions that had long simmered beneath the surface. Candace then shifted focus to the subtle ways external pressures had continued to influence the marriage. Friends, colleagues, and even distant family members, often unintentionally, contributed to escalating tensions. One misplaced comment at a gathering, a critique disguised as advice, a seemingly casual observational, became catalysts for arguments that exposed underlying insecurities. Charlie, confiding in Candace, admitted that he sometimes felt trapped between his desire to protect the relationship and the relentless scrutiny from those around him. The narrative highlighted the fragility of trust, the difficulty of maintaining composure, and the emotional toll of navigating a life where every move was observed and judged. And just when the story seemed overwhelming, Candace revealed another twist. An old misunderstanding resurfaced, reigniting past grievances that had never been fully resolved. A conversation from months earlier, initially forgotten, suddenly became the center of a heated argument. Charlie, in private reflection, admitted that he had underestimated the lingering impact of his words and actions. While Erica's reactions underscored the lasting weight of perceived betrayal, emotions ran high as Candace described the scene, capturing the raw intensity, the heartbreak, and the complex interplay of love, disappointment, and lingering doubt. The family was left divided, struggling to reconcile conflicting loyalties and emotions that refused to stay buried. Candace continued, delving into moments of attempted reconciliation that were met with mixed results. Charlie tried reaching out, offering gestures of apology and expressing heartfelt remorse. Erica, cautious and guarded, sometimes accepted the gestures, other times withdrew, creating a push-and-pull dynamic that intensified the drama. Candace described private conversations where Charlie expressed frustration at his inability to communicate effectively, and Erica's struggle to interpret his intentions without prejudice. "Fans are shocked," she emphasized, because these intimate exchanges revealed the delicate balance of emotions, trust, and perception that defined the marriage at this stage. The story intensified further as Candace revealed an incident involving a family gathering that had spiraled out of control. A casual troll remarked by a relative triggered an argument between Charlie and Erica, escalating into a confrontation that left everyone present stunned. Friends attempted to mediate, voices were raised, and emotions ran high, creating an atmosphere charged with tension. Charlie's frustration, Erica's hurt, and the family's divided loyalties combined to produce a scene that could only be described as emotionally explosive. Candace's narration captured the nuances of body language, tone, and reaction, allowing the audience to feel the intensity of the moment as if they were witnessing it firsthand. Candace then revealed Charlie's private reflections following the incident. He had spent hours analyzing the conflict, questioning his decisions, and struggling with the guilt of causing emotional pain. The weight of public perception added another layer of pressure, making it increasingly difficult for him to navigate personal emotions while maintaining a composed public image. Emotions ran high as Candace shared his internal dialogue, emphasizing the depth of self-reflection and the human vulnerability that had gone unnoticed by fans. The narrative illustrated a man caught between love, expectation, and the fear of irreparable damage to his marriage. And finally, Candace concluded this segment of the story with a chilling reminder of the stakes involved. Despite the confessions, confrontations, and attempts at reconciliation, the future of Charlie and Erica's marriage remained uncertain. External pressures persisted, past grievances lingered, and the emotional toll continued to mount. The family was left divided, torn between hope, skepticism, and the desire to see both parties emerge stronger. Fans are shocked, she noted, because the complexities revealed thus far painted a portrait of a relationship teetering on the edge, where every decision, word, and gesture carried monumental significance. The drama was far from over, and the audience was left gripping the edge of their seats, eager to witness the next chapter in a story defined by raw emotion, vulnerability, and the relentless pursuit of understanding, forgiveness, and perhaps redemption. Candace Owens leaned forward slightly, her expression a mixture of intensity and empathy, as she began to unravel the next chapter of Charlie and Erica's turbulent journey. The days following their most recent confrontation had brought no relief, only a deepening of the emotional divide. Charlie, Candace explained, had attempted to initiate meaningful conversations, to express vulnerability and seek understanding, but every attempt seemed to open old wounds rather than heal them. "He admitted to me," Candace said, her voice deliberate, "that he feels like every step forward comes with 3 steps back. It's exhausting, it's heartbreaking, and sometimes he doesn't know if he has the strength to keep trying." Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because the man they had admired for his confidence and poise was revealing a raw fragility few had ever seen. Candace described the private moments where Charlie wrestled with his emotions. Nights spent pacing, replaying arguments, and analyzing every interaction with Erica. Each misstep felt magnified, each gesture misunderstood, and each apology felt insufficient to bridge the growing chasm. Erica, too, was navigating her own storm of emotions, torn between love and disappointment, hope and doubt. Candace recounted a particularly poignant moment when Erica confronted Charlie, her voice trembling, asking, "How can I trust you again?" When every promise feels like it could be broken, the audience felt the weight of her words, the tension between desire for reconciliation and the fear of further hurt. The family was left divided, some siding with Charlie, others with Erica. While friends tried desperately to mediate without success, emotions ran high, the air thick with unresolved tension. Candace then revealed another shocking twist, an anonymous message that arrived at an unexpected time, throwing the couple into chaos once more. The message, seemingly innocuous to outsiders, carried insinuations that reignited past insecurities, fueled mistrust, and created a cascade of misunderstandings. Charlie's reaction was a mixture of anxiety and defensiveness, while Eric's response oscillated between hurt and fierce determination to protect herself emotionally. The narrative highlighted how even subtle influences from outside their immediate relationship had the power to destabilize years of trust, adding layers of complexity and drama. Fans are shocked, Candace noted, because these manipulations demonstrated just how vulnerable the couple had become to external pressures. The story escalated as Candace recounted a series of private confrontations that intensified the strain. In one heated exchange, Charlie expressed a fear that he had never shared with anyone else. The fear that Erica might never see him as he truly was, the fear that the love he fought to maintain could slip away despite his best efforts. Erica, equally honest in her response, admitted that while she wanted to believe in their love, the accumulation of misunderstandings, unspoken grievances, and external pressures made it difficult. The tension between them became almost unbearable, a tightrope of emotion where every word, gesture, and silence was scrutinized for hidden meaning. The family was left divided, their loyalty tested, and the audience gripped by the intensity of a narrative that felt both intimate and explosive. Candace then introduced the role of friends and allies, some well-meaning, others inadvertently destructive. Their involvement, though often subtle, had added fuel to the growing fire. Casual advice misinterpreted as criticism, offhand comments twisted into judgments, and private observations magnified into perceived betrayals all combined to exacerbate the strain. Charlie admitted privately to Candace that navigating these dynamics was one of the most challenging aspects of his life. A constant balancing act between protecting the relationship, managing public perception, and maintaining his own sense of self. Emotions ran high as Candace described how these external influences created ripple effects, deepening divisions and complicating attempts at reconciliation. Candace revealed a pivotal moment that marked a turning point in the ongoing drama. Charlie and Erica had attended a family gathering intended to foster communication, but instead, the event triggered a confrontation so intense it left everyone present in shock. A casual comment from a relative escalated into a heated argument, exposing long-suppressed frustrations and insecurities. Charlie, feeling misunderstood, lashed out verbally, while Erica, hurt and defensive, responded with equal intensity. Friends attempted to mediate, voices rose, and the family was left divided, caught in the emotional crossfire. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because the scene revealed the explosive potential of private emotions left unchecked, and the intricate web of loyalty, frustration, and concern that had developed over time. Candace then detailed the aftermath of the gathering, focusing on Charlie's private reflections. He admitted feeling isolated, haunted by the fear of inadequacy, and burdened by the perception that no matter how hard he tried, reconciliation remained elusive. Erica, in her own reflections, grappled with disappointment, frustration, and lingering doubts about whether the relationship could endure. The tension between desire and fear created a delicate, emotionally charged environment where every decision had weighty consequences. The narrative captured the raw vulnerability of both parties, illustrating a man and woman caught in the relentless tide of human emotion, struggling to find stability amidst chaos. And just when the audience thought they had grasped the extent of the drama, Candace unveiled another twist. A long-buried secret resurfaced, reigniting past grievances and adding a new layer of tension. Charlie had attempted to move forward, but remnants of unresolved conflicts suddenly demanded attention. Erica, hearing these revelations, felt her emotions spiral between understanding, hurt, and anger. The room, listeners imagined, was filled with the palpable tension of a marriage under siege, where trust, communication, and patience were constantly tested. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because the revelations exposed the fragility of even the most seemingly stable relationships and underscored the unpredictable power of human emotions. Candace's narration then regret and offer gestures meant to repair trust. While Erica would oscillate between cautious acceptance and guarded withdrawal, these exchanges created a push-and-pull dynamic, a continuous dance of hope, skepticism, and emotional negotiation. The family remained divided, some members hopeful for resolution, others skeptical of lasting change, and still others caught in the crossfire, unsure where to position themselves. Emotions ran high, the narrative intensifying as Candace recounted every subtle gesture, unspoken thought, and emotional tremor, immersing the audience fully in the drama. Finally, Candace concluded this segment by emphasizing the ongoing stakes. Despite the confessions, confrontations, and gestures of reconciliation, the marriage's future remained uncertain. External pressures persisted, old wounds resurfaced, and emotional tensions continued to mount. The family was left divided, fans are shocked, and the audience was left gripping the edge of their seats, desperate for the next revelation. Eager to witness how Charlie and Erica would navigate the labyrinth of love, vulnerability, and relentless human emotion. The stage was set for further twists, deeper confessions, and escalating drama that promised to keep viewers captivated at every turn. Candace Owens' voice grew more intense, her words deliberate, as she plunged deeper into the unfolding saga. The days following the family gathering had only intensified the emotional turmoil. Charlie, she explained, had been attempting to navigate his relationship with Erica with renewed effort. But the weight of past misunderstandings, external influences, and lingering doubts made every interaction a delicate balance. "He confided to me," Candace said, her tone steady yet charged. "Every time I try to be honest, it feels like I'm walking on a tightrope, afraid that one wrong step will ruin everything." Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because this was not the unshakable Charlie they had admired publicly, but a man confronting vulnerability, fear, and the consequences of years of unspoken tension. Candace painted a vivid picture of the private battles that continued to define their marriage. Late nights filled with quiet contemplation, arguments that reignited over seemingly trivial matters, and moments of silence heavy with unexpressed frustration became the fabric of their daily lives. Erica, she explained, wrestled with her own mixture of hope and skepticism, torn between love for Charlie and the lingering pain of past conflicts. In one private moment, Candace recounted, Erica asked Charlie, "How can I believe in us when every promise seems fragile?" The audience could feel the gravity of her question, the tightrope of emotion she was forced to navigate, and the tension that defined every interaction. The family was left divided, some members siding instinctively with Charlie, others with Erica, while friends attempted to mediate without fully grasping the underlying complexities. Emotions ran high as Candace narrated each scene with meticulous detail. The story intensified when Candace revealed the ongoing influence of an unexpected third party. This person, she explained, had continued to insert subtle manipulations, small comments that fanned the flames of insecurity, and insinuations that reopened old wounds. Charlie, confiding privately, acknowledged the difficulty of maintaining clarity and composure under these pressures. The narrative emphasized how even subtle, indirect interference could destabilize a marriage already burdened by unresolved tension. Fans are shocked, Candace noted, because the manipulations demonstrated just how vulnerable even the most seemingly stable relationships could become when trust and communication were strained. Candace then described a particularly volatile incident, a private conversation that had escalated into a dramatic confrontation. Charlie, in frustration, expressed the weight of his emotions, admitting mistakes and confessing fears of inadequacy. Erica, equally candid, revealed disappointment and lingering doubts that had not been addressed in months. Emotions ran high as Candace detailed the exchange, the tension in the room, and the reactions of family and friends caught in the crossfire. The narrative highlighted the raw humanity of the situation, the intensity of emotional stakes, and the delicate balance of love, fear, and hope that defined their interactions. Next, Candace turned to the ripple effects of these confrontations. The family's division grew more pronounced, with members choosing sides, some advocating for reconciliation, others harboring skepticism and quiet judgment. External observers, too, were drawn into the drama, offering advice, criticism, or support in ways that often complicated matters further. Charlie's reflections, shared with Candace, revealed a man struggling to maintain composure publicly while confronting private turmoil. Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because these insights exposed the hidden strain behind a carefully curated public persona, revealing vulnerability, frustration, and an unspoken fear of loss. Candace introduced another twist, a revelation that reshaped the narrative entirely. An old miscommunication, long thought resolved, resurfaced at a critical moment, sparking a renewed argument that left everyone involved reeling. Charlie admitted privately that he had underestimated the emotional impact of past actions and words, while Erica's reactions underscored the lasting weight of perceived betrayal. The family was left divided, the push and pull of loyalty, emotion, and opinion, creating a tense, almost volatile environment. Emotions ran high, and the audience was drawn into the intricacies of interpersonal dynamics, the delicate dance of trust, and the unpredictable consequences of long-buried grievances. Candace then detailed a sequence of attempts at reconciliation that yielded mixed results. Charlie would make heartfelt gestures, apologize sincerely, and seek understanding, while Erica oscillated between cautious acceptance and emotional withdrawal. The tension, the uncertainty, and the fragile nature of trust created an ongoing push-and-pull dynamic, a narrative that kept everyone involved on edge. Fans are shocked, she said, because the intensity of emotion, the delicate interplay of expectation and reality, and the human vulnerability revealed in these exchanges were unprecedented in public perception. Finally, Candace emphasized the enduring uncertainty that defined this chapter. Despite confessions, confrontations, and gestures of reconciliation, the marriage's future remained precarious. External pressures persisted, past grievances lingered, and emotional tensions continued to rise. The family was left divided, torn between hope, skepticism, and a desperate desire for resolution. The audience, she concluded, remained on the edge of their seats, eager to witness the next chapter, knowing that the drama, raw emotion, and shocking revelations were far from over. The stage was set for further twists, deeper confessions, an escalating intensity that promised to keep fans captivated and shocked at every turn. Candace Owens' tone deepened as she prepared to reveal the final chapter of the unfolding drama, a section that promised to push Charlie and Erica's story to the brink of emotional intensity. The days leading up to this climax had been a whirlwind of private confrontations, heartfelt confessions, and moments of doubt so raw that even close friends admitted they had never witnessed such turbulence. Charlie, she explained, had been grappling with layers of vulnerability that few outside the marriage could comprehend. He told me, Candace said, her voice steady but charged, every apology feels insufficient. Every gesture feels like it could fail. And yet, I keep trying because giving up is not an option. Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because this was a side of Charlie, the weight of human fragility, the raw fear of failure that had been hidden beneath a polished public persona. Candace described the painstaking efforts at reconciliation that unfolded in private. Charlie, determined to repair the fractures in his relationship, approached each interaction with caution, empathy, and an acute awareness of Erica's emotional boundaries. Erica, while deeply hurt, demonstrated a willingness to engage, though her responses oscillated between guarded hope and lingering skepticism. Each conversation, Candace recounted, was laden with the intensity of unspoken emotions, the delicate navigation of trust, and the intricate dance of vulnerability. The family, meanwhile, remained divided, some members advocating fervently for reconciliation, others holding reservations, and a few caught helplessly in the middle, witnessing tensions that seemed to intensify with every interaction. Emotions ran high as Candace narrated, allowing the audience to feel the weight of each word, pause, and gesture. And then came a revelation that no one had anticipated. A message from an unexpected source reignited doubts and triggered a series of emotionally charged exchanges. The message, subtle yet pointed, implied past grievances that had not been fully addressed, reopening conversations that both Charlie and Erica had hoped to leave behind. Charlie, sharing his reaction with Candace, admitted to a mix of frustration and self-reflection, realizing that even the best intentions could be complicated by the lingering echoes of the past. Erica's response was equally layered, a combination of hurt, resolve, and cautious curiosity, revealing the emotional complexity that had defined the relationship for so long. Fans are shocked, Candace noted, because the twists revealed how external factors and hidden histories could continue to shape the trajectory of a marriage even years after initial conflicts. Candace then highlighted a pivotal confrontation, one that brought both Charlie and Erica to a breaking point. Charlie, in a rare outpouring of emotion, expressed fears that had long been buried. The fear of inadequacy, the fear that love alone might not sustain them, and the fear that the public perception of his persona had overshadowed the private truth of his struggles. Erica, equally candid, shared her frustrations and lingering doubts, creating a tense atmosphere where every word felt charged with consequence. The audience, Candace explained, could almost feel the tension crackling in the air, the emotional stakes higher than ever, and the family caught in the crossfire. Attempting to mediate without fully understanding the depth of the turmoil, emotions ran high, fans are shocked, and the intensity of this private confrontation left an indelible mark on everyone involved. Candace then detailed the impact of these events on the wider circle of friends and family. Relationships that had seemed stable became strained. Alliances shifted, and loyalties were tested as each person tried to navigate a minefield of emotion, perception, and judgment. Subtle comments, past misunderstandings, and unspoken expectations magnified the drama, creating ripple effects that extended far beyond the immediate conflict. Charlie admitted to Candace that managing these dynamics was one of the most challenging aspects of his life. The constant scrutiny of friends and family, amplifying the pressure already inherent in maintaining a vulnerable, authentic presence within his marriage. Fans are shocked, she emphasized, because the complexity of human emotion, influence, and expectation revealed here was staggering. Candace then revealed a twist that changed the entire trajectory. A private admission from Charlie that had never been shared publicly. He confessed that he had been silently battling fears of failure and self-doubt, emotions that had silently influenced decisions, reactions, and interactions with Erica. This revelation added depth to every previous argument, gesture, and conversation, reframing the narrative in a way that shocked those who had followed the story. Erica, upon hearing this confession, responded with a mixture of empathy, cautious relief, and renewed vigilance, signaling the possibility of reconciliation, but also highlighting the fragility of trust. The family was left divided, torn between hope and skepticism, and the audience captivated by the intense interplay of emotion, honesty, and the human struggle for connection. Candace described subsequent attempts at resolution, where both Charlie and Erica worked to rebuild trust, communicate more effectively, and navigate the lingering influence of past conflicts. Each effort was met with partial success, moments of connection interspersed with setbacks, and a continuous awareness that the road to stability would be long and fraught with challenge. Fans are shocked, Candace emphasized, because the resilience and vulnerability displayed in these interactions revealed the complex beauty and fragility of human relationships, making the drama all the more compelling. Finally, Candace underscored the stakes as the narrative approached its climax. Despite progress, confessions, and gestures of reconciliation, uncertainty remained. External pressures persisted, and unresolved emotional tensions lingered. The family was left divided, friends wary, and Charlie and Erica themselves standing on a precipice where every choice carried immense significance. Fans are shocked, she concluded, because the intensity of emotion, the relentless unfolding of events, and the raw humanity displayed had created a story that was as unpredictable as it was captivating. The audience, she assured, would not want to miss a single moment of what came next. knowing that more twists, confessions, and emotional revelations were still to come. And so, after witnessing the whirlwind of confessions, confrontations, and emotional turbulence, we reach a moment to pause and reflect, but the story is far from over. What you've just heard, what you've just felt through every tension-filled conversation, every raw admission, and every twist that kept the family divided, is only a glimpse into the complex reality behind Charlie and Erica's marriage. Fans are shocked, yes, but it's more than that. It's a reminder of the human experience, how love, pride, vulnerability, and fear collide, creating situations that challenge even the strongest bonds. As you think about the intensity of these events, imagine yourself in their shoes, feeling the weight of every misstep, every misunderstanding, and every fleeting moment of hope that fights to survive amid uncertainty. You've witnessed Charlie's vulnerability, a man once perceived as unshakable, now laid bare in moments of doubt and fear. You've seen Erica's courage, navigating hurt, betrayal, and uncertainty, while trying to preserve the essence of love that still exists between them. The family, caught in the crossfire, the friends attempting to mediate, and even outside influences, all illustrate how complicated human relationships can become when emotions are heightened and stakes are personal. The drama, the conflict, and the emotional intensity are not just for shock value, they reflect something universally relatable: the struggle to balance love with personal boundaries, to communicate honestly while fearing misunderstanding, and to maintain trust when it feels so easily shattered. Now, imagine being part of this unfolding story, not just as a spectator, but as someone whose reactions, opinions, and questions could influence the conversation. The beauty of this narrative is not only in the shock and twists, but in the reflection it provokes. How would you act if you were Charlie or Erica? What choices would you make when confronted with both love and doubt? How would you respond to confessions that shake the foundation of everything you thought you knew? Fans are shocked, yes, but so are we, because we recognize ourselves in the vulnerabilities, mistakes, and aspirations of those involved. Every human relationship carries a degree of unpredictability, and this story magnifies that reality in ways that captivate, provoke thought, and evoke empathy. As the story reaches this point, you have the opportunity to engage, to participate in the dialogue, and to weigh in on what comes next. Do you think Charlie will find the balance he seeks? Can Erica reconcile the pain of past misunderstandings with the hope for the future? Will the family find a way to unite? Or will divisions persist, despite the best efforts of those caught in the middle? These questions are not rhetorical. They are a call for you to immerse yourself in the drama, to consider the perspectives, the emotions, and the stakes, and to form your own opinion on how such intense human stories unfold. Fans are shocked, certainly, but engagement brings depth, understanding, and a sense of shared experience to a narrative that is as emotionally complex as it is sensational. Now, here's where you come in. You to be part of this journey, to share your thoughts, your reactions, and your insights. Comment below with your perspective. Do you side with Charlie, understanding his vulnerability and struggles? Do you empathize with Erica, appreciating her caution and the strength it takes to navigate hurt? Or do you see the story through a broader lens, recognizing how family dynamics, outside influences, and past miscommunications can complicate even the most loving relationships? Your voice matters here, because the story isn't just about what happened, it's about how it resonates with each of us, how it challenges our own ideas about love, trust, and resilience. Liking this video is more than just a click. It's a signal that you appreciate the depth of storytelling, the raw emotion, and the drama that makes these narratives compelling. Subscribing ensures you don't miss a single revelation, a single twist, or a single confession that continues to unfold. Every notification, every comment, every share helps to build a community that thrives on exploring the intricate, often messy realities of relationships in ways that are engaging, entertaining, and profoundly human. Fans are shocked, yes, but by participating, you become part of the conversation, shaping how the story is perceived and how it resonates beyond the screen. Remember, the drama, the confessions, and the intense emotions aren't just for spectacle. They are mirrors reflecting the complexity of real life, the difficulty of communication, and the courage it takes to confront both personal and shared pain. Charlie and Erica's story is a lens through which we examine our own experiences, how we navigate conflict, how we seek understanding, and how we decide whether love is enough when tested by reality. Your engagement, whether through comments, likes, or sharing the video, contributes to a collective understanding, a dialogue that extends the story beyond its immediate events into a reflection on human nature itself. So, we ask you as you finish watching, what do you think comes next? How will Charlie and Erica navigate the remaining obstacles in their marriage? Will the family reconcile, or will divisions continue to deepen? Your opinion, your insights, and your voice are critical to keeping the story alive. Comment now. share your thoughts, and engage with others who are equally captivated and shocked by the twists, confessions, and raw humanity of this narrative. Every perspective adds depth, context, and meaning to a story that is as unpredictable as it is emotionally charged. And finally, as you reflect on everything you've just witnessed, remember that this story is more than just entertainment. It's a reminder that relationships are complicated, emotions are powerful, and the pursuit of understanding requires patience, courage, and empathy. Fans are shocked, yes, but the real engagement comes from asking yourself difficult questions, sharing your perspectives, and remaining involved in the unfolding drama. This is your invitation to not just watch, but to participate, to weigh in, and to help the story grow beyond the screen. Your thoughts matter, your voice matters, and your engagement transforms mere storytelling into a dynamic, shared experience. So like, subscribe, and comment below. Share your opinion, your predictions, and your reactions. Tell us who you empathize with, what choices you would make, and how you would navigate a situation filled with love, doubt, and complex emotions. Stay involved, stay engaged, and witness every shocking revelation as the story of Charlie and Erica continues to unfold. Because every word, every twist, and every confession matters, and so does your voice. Fans are shocked. You are shocked. And together we will continue to unravel, analyze, and experience the highs, lows, and emotional storms of a story that refuses to let go. One confession, one confrontation, and one dramatic twist at a time. Like, subscribe, and comment. Noah, perspective completes the story.